I've always thought that fixed price gold was a ripoff, but I never imagined it could be this bad. It's truly terrifying. So even if you are as clueless as can be, never ever buy that kind of fixed price gold from jewelry stores. Don't do it. My husband wanted to surprise me before, so he bought me a bracelet, but he got swindled. This bracelet, worth over 10,000 yuan, only weighed 10.62 grams when I had it weighed yesterday. Based on today's price, it's only worth over 5,000 yuan. I even thought about selling it to buy a motorcycle, but forget about motorcycles, I couldn't even afford the wheels. Losing that money, I could have bought 2 electric bikes instead. So please everyone, never buy fixed price gold. The engraving here is marked with 4 nines. Everyone, please don't be deceived. This is a complete scam.
A consumer bought 100 grams of gold from a small shop, thinking it was a good investment. But after burning it, they found out it was fake. In China, the recent surge in the price of gold has sparked a buying frenzy. But at the same time, a gold scam targeting Chinese consumers has emerged. Many Chinese people have attempted to purchase so-called 999 pure gold online, only to be deceived and end up buying counterfeit gold. The highest purity gold product is called 999 gold because its gold content is as high as 99.9%. This type of pure gold is also referred to as 24 karat gold. Sean Rain, the managing director of China Marketing Research Group, told CNBC, with more and more Chinese people looking to buy gold as an investment, fake gold is becoming a major issue in Chinese society. Sean Rain stated that because consumers and investors find it difficult to distinguish between 24 karat gold and low quality gold, and with the demand for gold, it provides an opportunity for scammers. Some consumers have already purchased fake gold on e-commerce platforms such as Taobao and Pinduoduo. According to reports, a consumer bought 5 gold pendants on Taobao for 1,985 yuan, approximately $280, and found them to be fake after conducting a flame test. Fake gold will darken or turn green under flame, while pure gold will become brighter when heated. Another consumer purchased gold products from Pinduoduo only to find that they had rusted. He stated that he had taken the goods to a jeweler for appraisal, and the result was that they were fake. According to the Consumer Association of China, CAC, the first quarter complaint points released on May 9th showed that as the selling price of gold continues to rise, the irregular business practices of some merchants have triggered a large number of consumer complaints. The CAC stated that the main complaints in the gold consumer sector are as follows. First, discrepancies between the weight and material of gold sold by online merchants and what was being advertised, including cases of counterfeit brands and certificates being sold as fake gold. Second, gold stores closing down and fleeing, resulting in consumers being unable to redeem the custodial gold they purchased when it expires. Third, disputes over fixed price gold jewelry are common, with merchants deliberately not informing consumers of the specific weight and exchange restrictions of the gold jewelry, leading to consumers being charged a fixed price when purchasing, but charged by weight when exchanging. The CAC mentioned that on March 14th, a consumer named Mr. Young filed a complaint through the platform against a certain e-commerce company. On February 3rd, 2024, Mr. Young purchased a gold ring from an e-commerce platform claiming to be a brand name gold store for 988 yuan, with a stated weight of 2 grams. The store claimed to have after-sales services available nationwide offline and provided certificates and invoices. Mr. Young noted that the ring came with a certificate and invoice, and the ring was engraved with the mark 999, indicating pure gold. However, not long ago, Mr. Young's fiancée noticed some abnormalities with the ring. Mr. Young contacted the customer service of the merchant to inquire about the situation, but did not receive a clear reply. He was only informed that the ring was made of 999 pure gold. Consequently, he brought the ring to an offline store of the brand for inspection, only to find out that the product was not from the claimed brand, and both the certificate and the invoice were counterfeit. Furthermore, the actual weight of the ring was only 1.48 grams. The consumer requested the e-commerce platform to penalize the store according to relevant laws and regulations and to impose a penalty 3 times the amount paid. But the platform's customer service stated that they could only process a return and refund. According to an article from a Chinese media outlet, on a certain complaint platform, there are over 5,000 complaints regarding fake gold alone. Several consumers have indicated that products labeled as $9.99 pure gold sold on various online platforms are often fake or contain impurities. The article cited an example of Miss Yang from Heilongjiang, who purchased 3 $9.99 pure gold products, including a small bracelet and a gold lock, from the Taobao Enterprise Store, Hong Kong Dafu Wanda, totaling 1,000 yuan. Miss Yang stated that she bought the items because she thought they were $9.99 pure gold. At the time of placing the order, the price was 500 yuan per gram, but after using a coupon, the price dropped to just over 400 yuan. The seller claimed to provide a certificate and attached a QR code, perhaps assuming that nobody would verify it. However, when she looked up the relevant certificate later, she found no record of it. She contacted the seller to inquire about the authenticity of the bracelet, but the response was vague and did not provide a clear answer. The seller simply said, "You can return it." Another consumer, Miss Lee, purchased nearly 30,000 yuan worth of so-called pure gold bracelets from an online second-hand platform. The transaction included certificates and invoices, and even after using a torch to burn it, there were no abnormalities. However, upon inspection, a problem was discovered. Out of the 45 grams of the gold in the bracelet, only 10 grams were real gold, while the remaining were 35 grams of silver. Counterfeit products have been prevalent in China for many years. Sean Rain stated that counterfeit goods can be found everywhere on Chinese e-commerce platforms, ranging from gold to Chanel. CNBC reported that some techniques for identifying the authenticity of gold, such as dropping the item on the floor to listen to the sound of the metal, or dripping nitric acid on the product. If the acid turns green, the product is likely ordinary metal or gold-plated. If the gold shows no change, then it is likely genuine. Metal Focus, a precious metals research and consulting company, founder and partner Nikos Kavalis told CNBC that counterfeit gold can be identified by its weight, size, and volume. Depending on the design, fake jewelry can also be identified by its hardness. $9.99 pure gold is very soft. However, it remains difficult for the average consumer to determine whether they have purchased genuine gold. Kavalis stated that to protect themselves, consumers should choose reputable stores to buy gold, whether online or offline. The World Gold Council stated that despite the rapid growth of online gold sales, it still accounts for only a small portion of gold consumption in China. Most people still prefer to buy gold from physical stores. They also caution consumers not to trust exclusively low-priced gold products found online. China is experiencing its most severe inflation in 15 years. With significant stock market volatility and low bank interest rates, this has made China the primary consumer of gold. In 2023, China surpassed India to become the world's largest buyer of gold jewelry. For many people, gold is the most reliable investment option in times of instability and economic downturn. In uncertain economic times, an increasing number of young people in China are considering small gold items, such as gold beans weighing only 1 gram, as a safe investment choice. This has led to a surge in gold consumption across mainland China, from gold bars to gold beans and even gold bracelets. According to data from the World Gold Council, Chinese consumers purchased 603 tons of gold jewelry last year, representing a 10% increase compared to 2022. The New York Times recently reported that both the Chinese Communist Party, officials, and private individuals are heavily buying gold, causing gold prices to reach historic highs. In 2023, the People's Bank of China purchased more gold than any other central bank in the world, with the increase in gold reserves reaching the highest level in nearly 50 years. The article mentions that after the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the war in Gaza, gold prices surged. However, the Chinese consumers' confidence in traditional investments such as real estate and stocks wavered. They turned to gold. Meanwhile, the People's Bank of China continued to increase its gold reserves and reduce its holdings of US Treasury bonds, adding fuel to the fire. Chinese spectators also bet on the appreciation of gold. Since the end of 2022, global gold prices have risen by nearly 50%. The People's Bank of China has increased its gold holdings for 18 consecutive months. According to official Chinese data, as of the end of April, China's gold reserves stood at 72.8 million ounces compared to 72.7 million ounces at the end of March. British news company The Telegraph reported that experts suggest China's accumulation of gold reserves may be aimed at avoiding economic sanctions from the West in the event of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait. Deputy Director of the Royal United Services Institute, Jonathan Eyal, stated, "The relentless purchases and the sheer quantity are clear signs that this is a political project which is prioritized by the leadership in Beijing because of what they see is a looming confrontation with the United States. Of course, it's connected also to plans for military invasion of Taiwan." The CCP has consistently claimed sovereignty over Taiwan and has not abandoned its ambition to reunify Taiwan by force. However, the Taiwanese government has stated that only the people of Taiwan can decide the island's future. On the other hand, Taiwan has long been a strategic ally of the United States. President Biden has stated that he is willing to deploy U.S. troops to protect Taiwan in the event of an invasion. Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China, IPAC, co-chair Sir Lian Duncan Smith stated that if the timing of a potential CCP attack on Taiwan draws near and other countries begin withdrawing their investments from China, it would also prompt the CCP to make some preparations. Following Western countries' freezing of Russia's currency reserves in foreign central banks shortly after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the People's Bank of China began purchasing gold. Western sanctions caused Russia to lose $350 billion in foreign exchange. Eyal stated that there is no doubt that the timing and continuity of the purchases are part of the CCP's attempt to learn lessons from the war in Ukraine. Eyal also remarked, China's urgency was clear given it is buying up vast amounts of gold at a time when prices are at historic highs. Former director of the U.S. Navy's intelligence agency, Mitchell Studman, recently wrote in a column on the War on the Rocks website, suggesting that the top leadership of the CCP appears to have studied the sanctions strategy adopted by the West against Russia over the Ukraine issue and subsequently initiated long-term protective measures to resist similar pressures. Studman stated that the CCP is also taking other actions to reduce the risk of food and energy sanctions, establishing strategic petroleum reserves, and is building overland pipelines and coal-fired plants with renewed fervor. Studman stated that when comparing the global reactions to the CCP's crackdown in Hong Kong and the potential global reactions on a CCP invasion of Taiwan, she likely knows attempting to assimilate Taiwan would lead to much fiercer global resistance and harsher whole-of-society repercussions that would likely last years. Opinions vary regarding China's actual gold reserves. FX 168 Finance quoted gold analyst and Flying Frisbee founder Dominic Frisbee, who analyzed that the official disclosure of China's gold holdings by the CCP is far from the actual amount. He believes that the CCP has secretly acquired large amounts of gold, and its actual holdings have surpassed those of the United States. According to a report by the World Gold Council, in the first half of 2023, 9 central banks were net buyers of gold, with the People's Bank of China being the largest buyer. According to data from the World Gold Council, as of the end of 2023, the United States held the world's largest gold reserves at 8,133 tons, followed by Germany, Italy, France, and Russia. China purchased 216 tons of gold in 2023, bringing its total gold reserves to 2,226 tons, ranking 6th globally. Frisbee explains that in this century, China has produced approximately 7,000 tons of gold. He points out that over 50% of gold mining in China is conducted by state-owned enterprises, and China does not export any of the gold it produces, so all mined gold remains within the country. As for imports, it is currently unclear how much gold China has imported through Switzerland, Dubai, or London. However, Frisby believes that estimates can be made based on market activity. He noted that a significant amount of gold entering China typically goes through the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Since the beginning of this century, approximately 22,000 tons of gold have flowed into China through the Shanghai Gold Exchange. According to Frisby's estimate, China possesses at least 33,000 tons of gold, with half of it potentially held by the Chinese government. Frisby said, "So China probably has twice as much gold as the US. Now, it's not going to say we've got twice as much gold as the US because that would be a declaration of war. And if China and the US ever get into any conflict, then you can be sure that China will weaponize its gold." However, political commentator Li Linyi believes that one of the purposes of the CCP hoarding gold is to counter future financial sanctions imposed by the US. But this approach may not necessarily be effective. Russia has already been excluded from the US dollar system and has been steadily purchasing gold. Yet in April of this year, the UK, US, Japan, and Canada announced a ban on importing Russian gold. This indicates that the West has some countermeasures against Russia's use of gold to evade sanctions. Moreover, many gold bars and ingots have serial numbers, making them easier for Western countries to track. Relying on gold to evade economic sanctions from the West might not be very effective for the CCP. Regarding the future trend of gold prices, Kichiro Kamei, representative of the Japan Market Strategy Institute, said that if funds begin to flow into the gold market from slowly rising exchange-traded funds, ETFs, resulting in new purchases, the price of gold will rise further. While China is increasing its gold holdings, it is also continuously reducing its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds. According to data from the U.S. Department of Treasury, as of November 2023, China's holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds were approximately $782 billion, a decrease of about 10% compared to the same period the previous year, and a significant drop of 40.5% from its peak in July 2011, when it held $1.3 trillion. Financial commentator based in the United States, Wang Jian, pointed out that the People's Bank of China began reducing its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds and increasing its gold reserves starting from the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022. This was because at that time, the European Union and the United States froze Russia's foreign exchange reserves. He said, "This really scared China. If China were to attack Taiwan, would the United States also freeze China's foreign exchange reserves? China's $3 trillion in foreign exchange reserves would incur heavy losses. So, starting from that time, the People's Bank of China has been systematically reducing its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds." Wang Jian's analysis suggests that after reducing its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds, China's foreign exchange reserves had no choice but to shift towards holding gold. With the quantity continuously increasing, at the same time, the continuous rise in gold prices is also a reason for the increase in holdings by the People's Bank of China. Currently, gold prices are at historical highs, briefly surpassing the 2,400 mark in early April. He predicts that the actual holdings of People's Bank of China are likely higher than the publicly disclosed proportions of 4.6% of foreign exchange reserves. According to a report by Nikkei Asia, on May 10th, personal funds in China are flowing into gold. The trading volume on Shanghai Gold Exchange increased by 80% from March to April, further driving up global gold prices. Some experts believe that the slump in China's real estate market, restrictions on investments in virtual currencies, and on U.S. assets have left investors with few options, prompting them to turn to gold. There's also analysis suggesting that individual purchases of gold in China are primarily driven by concerns about currency depreciation, which could become a long-term trend. Wang Jian further suggests that Chinese citizens primarily purchase gold out of concern for future prospects and worries about economic inflation. He remarked, "Chinese citizens are very worried that with the People's Bank of China using so much money, will there be significant inflation in the future? China's expert and professor at the School of Business in the University of South Carolina, Aiken Xietian, also suggests that Chinese people buy gold out of concern for the economic outlook in China. Xietian said, "People are worried that due to the bursting of the real estate bubble and the collapse of the stock market, the yuan will depreciate significantly. In turbulent times, gold is a traditional safe haven asset."